What's up, YouTubers? It's eveRide. It is 3:30 Utah time, 5:30 on the East Coast. I am doing a sync ride today with my fast friend, Mr. DocmanRides. Go check him out. We're going to raise awareness for depression. And today I'm specifically going to talk about the triggers, some of my experiences, and what an apt day to do this because I'm actually kind of battling with some pretty severe thoughts today. So, you know, I don't want to trigger you guys and make you guys feel bad. So if you don't want to handle, if you're not ready to handle somebody who's feeling depressed, today might not work out. But if you want a kind of an insight into the world of eveRide's brain, you know, this is reality. This is what's going on. So I'm looking here at the single track I could take, and I'm looking at the just kind of the regular road, which that beefy hill climb up there is not part of. So, you know, I'm kind of wondering what you guys would rather see me take. You know, truthfully, part of me doesn't even want to hold on to the handlebars. So I'm just gonna go the easy route. There goes this guy. So yeah, DocmanRides did one of these with Ride Victoria a little while ago about post-traumatic stress disorder, and with any kind of not with any kind, I guess with a lot of different mental illnesses, there are triggers. All right, and I talked about triggers a little bit in my video about cussing and things like that. This is bumpy. Triggers are a big deal. Triggers can have a huge effect. And I want to also talk a little bit about what's called the locus of control. Now, if you have an internal locus of control, not locust, they're shooting over there. If you have an internal locus of control, that means that it's hard for things that happen to you to affect your mood or how in control you feel of yourself. If you have an external locus of control, that means that things that happen outside of you affect you a lot. And I think a person with depression has, you know, when the depression strikes hardest, it feels like an external locus of control. You kind of go with the external. Things are happening not to you. You're not an active actor in things. Hey, look at here. Look, we got a couch. We got a couple of couches. It's not in the mood. So, as you can tell, this is pretty raw. Today was a rough day at school as a teacher. It's always hard. I mean, it was hard to get out of bed, brush my teeth. It's hard to. I mean, you know, it's kind of gnarly when it's hard to get on your motorcycle. But you know, I'm glad that Docman asked me to do the sync ride so that it would get me on the bike today. Obviously I'm not taking it real fast or anything. Anyway, let's get back to the topic. So, my experiences with depression and with my students who've had depression and with battling it with myself, battling with depression myself, rather, it sucks. And with the suicidal element comes the suicidal ideation, and you're constantly thinking about it. and you know you can't do it, and you know that you don't want to do it, but you're still always thinking about it because, hey, easy way out. And something that I think about depression-wise is how should I phrase this? Man, I just don't know. Let me give you a little background on why I'm feeling pretty depressed today, and why I have for the last couple of days. You know, it started out with anger, and anger can be a nice good trigger for depression. A couple of different things triggered this episode. I got in a fight with somebody that I love and care about. Things are good now, but basically I was kind of a jerk. And then I was just notified by my school district that if I don't, I teach special education classes, and whether that's English or math or study skills or whatever, you know, it's whatever they tell me they want me to do. And so high school teachers, according to the federal government and the supreme overlords who like to control our lives without knowing, the federal government and a lot of, I don't know who's in charge of this stuff, but basically they want all teachers who teach high school math, whether it's special education or what, to become what's called highly qualified to teach math. And I'm not against that, because teachers should have to know what they teach. However, you've got to understand that the level of math that I teach is very basic levels of life skills math, balancing a checkbook. Probably the hardest thing we'll do the whole year is calculate interest rates. I mean, right now we're working on area and things like that. This is with high school seniors. These are things that they'll need to know. So anyway, they want me to have to take these tests that they want me to take these tests that basically measure my level of how well I can do trigonometry and calculus and advanced algebra, when I've had to have resources throughout my college career to get me through those things. Well, they're not going to let me keep my job as a special education teacher if I don't pass these classes in advanced mathematics, if I don't pass this test. Now, the way that I see it is that's kind of like the equivalent of making, I don't know, making an English teacher get a master's degree in neuroscience so that they'll be an effective English teacher. Like, I will never teach calculus or even algebra to my students, ever. And yet the government, in their infinite wiseness, in their infinite wisdom, they want to do this. The thing is, it's taken me a long time to get to the math skills that I'm at. I've always had deficits in math my whole life, and you know, I've worked really, really hard to get this job, and the application process was kind of a nightmare. And basically, it's just, I mean, I got a freaking master's degree so I could teach special education, right? So I could serve the kids that come to school broken, or not broken. I mean, some kids really are broken because they're they're abused and things like that. But you know, and I serve other kids who just have disabilities, right? And I've worked really hard so that I can make that happen. And it's not so I can make a lot of money. I mean, come on. I'm in the freaking poverty level. I'm under the Utah poverty level as a full-time school teacher. What does that tell you? So, anyway, having a master's degree apparently does not make me highly qualified as a special education teacher. And neither does the experience that I have with at-risk youth in a residential setting. The only thing that matters is math that I will never teach. So good job, government. Way to completely take the wind out of my sails. Hey guys, I'm surprised I never see anybody along here. So, anyway, that is a big trigger. Basically, when you've worked your whole life to try to get somewhere, and not for monetary purposes or anything like that, but when you've worked your whole life to get somewhere where you can feel satisfied by helping people, and then your up government decides, hey, you need to take this test. One of the reasons why I became a special educator was because I did struggle so much in mathematics. And in college, I had to take special remedial classes and have like a private tutor and have a whole bunch of accommodations. So, you know, that's one of the things that was like, hey, you know what? I am disabled when it comes to math calculation. My brain does not work that way. And nobody ever knew it in high school. I always got D's. My teachers just passed me because they didn't want me in their classes anymore. But in the end, I graduated through high school. But, you know, when it came to college math, I could not pass. So when I finally got some help from some people who knew what they were doing and knew the different ways to teach, and who could provide me with some accommodations like the ability to use a calculator and have extra time on tests, and you know, have some assessment be based on homework instead of just in a testing environment, then things started to work out for me, and I passed, you know, obviously. And then, you know, math was something that was going to get me to drop out of high school when it got too hard. I was almost about to drop out of high school. And then when it got too hard in college, I was going to drop out of college. And it was some people who kind of saved my bacon in college and helped me to succeed. Special educators in college. And then, you know, you kind of look at where I'm at now. I've got a master's degree. Now, obviously a master's degree doesn't mean I'm any kind of smart. But I've worked really hard, and to have that pulled away from me is really disappointing. Anyway, triggers can be anything. Triggers can be bullying. Triggers can be really anything. You know, and I'm sorry, I'm not super able to focus on the topic. But you know, something that I did want to talk about is the kind of the massive downward spiral that occurs when you start thinking depressed. It's really kind of a funny thing. Now, if you have been in any kind of psychology classes or anything like that, or experienced some behavioral health things, you know that sometimes for depression they will prescribe antipsychotic medicines. Now, that doesn't mean that they're hearing voices or anything like that, but the depression is so bad and the thinking gets so skewed, and there's so many thinking errors involved that you basically need to medicate so that your brain stops having these delusions of failure. I mean, you've heard of delusions of grandeur. These are delusions of failure. And it's delusional thinking. I mean, you know, like, for example, right now it's really weird because I know that my wife loves me, and I know that my kids love me, and I know that my job, at least for this year, until that deadline comes around, is secure. However, you know, once you start fighting the fight with depression, once you kind of dip down into that depressed mode where you don't want to get out of bed, you don't want to go to work, you don't want to do anything, once you get there, it gets brutal. And you start thinking about everything else that's going wrong, and everything starts piling up. And then this is where the psychotic part comes in, is you start thinking things are going wrong that actually aren't wrong. You know, like, and you stop doing things that you would normally love to do, like motorcycling. Like, I love taking this road home, but today, you know, it's just, I don't know, guys. I feel pretty bad about the whole situation, you know. And it's interesting because in my head I'm thinking, oh, if I publish this vlog and I go through with it, I'm gonna lose all my subscribers because I'm a nut job. And you know, logically I know that that's not true, but in my head that's what's occurring, you know. And I think that, oh, I waved to those guys but they didn't wave back, so I must be a bad person, or they, you know, they disrespect me or something like that, or they hate me because I'm on a motorcycle. Look at that little guy ripping. Yeah, buddy. That's awesome. So, anyway, guys, this vlog's getting pretty long, but rad. It's cool to see little kids shredding it. So anyway, guys, when it comes to depression, when it comes to emotions and feelings and things like that, just keep in mind what you say might trigger somebody, and we never know what's going on in somebody's head. What you say might be the last thing that they ever hear, and I mean, what it comes down to is love. If you show love to people, then it's going to be okay, you know. If you show that you care about people, then things are going to be good. Yeah, buddy. Boom. Oh. I want to go hit that. Here he comes. Man, I want to get my son out here. That'd be really cool. Nice. Sweet. Well, anyway, guys, I'm sorry this vlog has been just despondent, you know. But hopefully it gives you a look inside the mind of a depressed person. Now, whoa, that's a big dip. Now, I just want you to kind of look at this versus the other videos and things like that. You put on a smiley face. You put on a happy face when you're depressed, and you just hope that it doesn't last. And you put on a show for people so that they don't know that you're depressed. So anyway, guys, it's interesting to me because life is good. I know life is good. I do have a job right now. For now, it's a good thing. And my family's still there. And, you know, in almost every way, life is great. But sometimes the brain just fools us into thinking it's not. But really, when we think of everything that we have, when I think of my lovely wife and my kids, and I get to ride motorcycles, and I have you guys as friends, some of you really close friends, that makes a big difference. But sometimes the brain just likes to throw chemicals around and tell you that it's not good enough. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for riding with me. Yeah, we'll talk to you later.